Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it's another day, and it's another failed SNP policy. In fact, this one failed before it even got off the ground. And rather than enact it, they've, very quietly dropped it. This one, of course, is about child poverty. And they can't do anything about it because they can't afford to do anything about it. It's one of those policies they announced to a big fanfare to show how wonderful and caring they are and how they're going to help everybody who's in poverty and they're going to really change the lives of children in Scotland. And then they realise that they've wanked all the money away on independent stuff and they haven't got 15 million left over to help some children. Are we surprised? I'm not. I don't think anyone is. Yet again, we have an example of the SNP talking the talk and unable to walk the walk because they are absolutely bloody useless. Let's have a look to see what this time Shirley-Anne Somerville has to say about her latest failure. It's not her first failure, of course, it's just her latest one. Here goes. So, shameful. SNP quietly abandon another flagship policy as anti-poverty boasts are in tatters. Again, another one of those big things. Look, we're making this big announcement and then all of a sudden, we've got this one wrong. They must be used to it by now. Surely they must know better than to make big announcements about important issues without fully funding it, without knowing how to actually deliver it. But they don't. They do it time and time again. Anyway, Scottish Labour have blasted the Scottish Government after Social Justice Secretary Shirley-Anne Somerville admitted that they had quietly dropped a promise to parents of kids living in poverty. Well, she's not. She's worth millions, isn't she? And you wonder how an MP or a politician becomes a millionaire. I don't mind millionaires becoming politicians, but when politicians become millionaires, you have to wonder why. Serial failure, isn't she? She failed in everything she's done. She was one of the few MPs that couldn't even win a list seat for the SNP. That's how bad she is. Anyway, the SNP executive have scrapped another flagship policy as Humza Yousaf's boasts about being unashamedly anti-poverty lay in tatters yet again. It is another example, of course, of a failed policy by a failed government. It was revealed that the government have quietly binned one of the key planks in their anti-poverty strategy due to the lack of funds. They only need 15 million, but when they're wanking away 8.5 million a month on spin doctors, it's no wonder they can't afford it. Last year's ministers pledged to create a new parental transition fund up to £15 million a year to tackle financial barriers for parents who want to get a job. And this was welcomed by charities and recommended by those with lived experience of poverty, unlike everyone in the SNP, who over the years has managed to scrape millions from the public purse to make sure that they are quite happy in their very well-feathered nests. It was included in the Best Start Bright Futures Tackling Child Poverty Delivery Plan for between 2022 and 2026. It didn't even make it to the end of 2023 and hasn't even been implemented. It has been dropped before it even started. Just 18 months later, the government's Social Justice Secretary, Shirley-Anne Somerville, Shirley-Anne Somerville admitted that this fund has already been abandoned. She claimed that the government has now decided it would not be possible to deliver the Parental Transition Fund and it has run its course as a concept. Run its course is political speak for we don't know what we're doing. We make these big announcements with our big mouths, but we don't think things through because we're very, very stupid. The decision has been blasted by charities who helped come up with the idea, including the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, who called it deeply concerning. The Poverty and Inequality Commission pointed out that it was parents who promoted the concept in the first place. They wanted this push so that they could get back to work. They needed a bit of help to get there, but they wanted to get back to work. But of course they won't do that because they need to, we've got to have some pretty brochures instead. Scottish Labour attacked the SNP and called the cut shameful when one in four Scottish children are in poverty. A number that's only increased ever since the SNP came to power. And that is the real sort of legacy, I think, of this government. The SNP government came to power 16 years ago, and since then, the number of children in poverty has skyrocketed. Social justice spokesperson Paul O'Kane said this is just yet another broken promise from the SNP, and one that blows a hole in their plan to tackle child poverty. We have a legal and moral duty to drive down Scotland's scandalous rate of child poverty, but the SNP is putting progress at risk by quietly abandoning key pledges against the advice of anti-poverty campaigners. It's a shameful move when 1 in every 4 of children in Scotland is living in poverty. And of course, there's Paul O'Kane. He always reminds me, he looks like Scooter out of the Muppets, you know. So I think it's just the glasses, really, more than anything else. Anyway, the last Labour government lifted 1 million children out of poverty, he said, and it will be driving mission of the next one. While the SNP abandoned attempts to lift people out of poverty through work, Labour will make it a priority, and it's just him sort of politicising this problem, which we're not really interested in. Chris Burt of the Joseph Rowntree Foundation was damning in his criticism of the government. He said, in the Best Starts Bright Future delivery plan, supporting parents into employment was seen as a good medium to long-term goal. It's good for many reasons. 1, it gives more money into the family because they're working. 2, it gives the person who's working something to do with their day, something to occupy them. It's good for their mental health as much as anything else. And thirdly, and most importantly, it engenders in a child, seeing the parent work, a work ethic. And it takes that reliance upon the state away at a very early age, when children grow up seeing parents working and realising that that is what you do. It's a good training for the child, if you will. They said, we would agree with that, with it bringing down child poverty and encourage it. So it's deeply concerning to see that those two areas being put side by side by the Scottish Government. That's what they said. And the Scottish Government keeps asking organisations such as ours where the solutions are. But now these solutions have been binned. So they keep coming to these places and saying, please help, what do we do, what do we do? The experts tell them what to do, and they go, yeah, we'll do that. And then it's like, it's £15 million, oh, we ain't got the money. And then they just cast these children back into the pool of poverty and misery, which of course is all policy. Misery and poverty is the policy of the SNP. Bill Scott, Poverty and Inequality Commission, said the idea of a parental transition fund came from the parents themselves, and abandoning it involves abandoning one of the key solutions that they came up with. Emma Congreve, Fraser of Allender Institute, aired her concerns that the Scottish Government is always over-promising and she says sometimes failing to live up to them. Never lives up, always over-promises and never delivers. She said the lack of detail means that an announcement can be made without all the workings being gone through, and that is a concern when policies cannot be delivered. Well, of course they can't. You're asking trained chimps to run a country. These people are stupid beyond belief. There needs to be minimum levels of education and minimum levels of IQ in order to be given authority. And these people, honestly, are thick as planks of wood. They are moronic. It's either they're either morons or they're doing this deliberately. I actually do feel that they're doing it deliberately. I actually feel that they are deliberately destroying everything as part of their scorched earth policy. It's either that or they're morons, and I can't believe anyone is as stupid as these people. Surely not. Anyway, I shall run off there and I shall come up, but it is just another indictment on how bad things are and how bad things are going to continue to be until this bunch of clowns are thrown out of office. Coming up. So there we are, another fail for the SNP, another fail for Shirley-Anne Somerville, and unfortunately it's the impoverished children of Scotland that this time are paying for their ineptitude, stupidity and lack of ability. Will they ever learn? No, because they're too stupid to learn. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it's been informative. Hope it's shown you the kind of morons running the country. And I hope it's earned a subscription. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. And remember, the SNP talk the talk. They just cannot walk the walk. Bye.